I'm going to share with you today an interview by Bloomberg. And they're not just talking about the launch of the Ethereum ETF, but also the expansion into the broader crypto space. And the concern that if we were stuck with Gary Gensler for another 4 years, it may be struggle bus city to get anything across the finish line. We could have 2.0 regulatory capture here with Bitcoin and Ethereum being the only two crypto assets with ETFs in the US. Spoiler alert, I don't think that's going to happen. I think 2025 you will see a flurry of activity. And further, I don't think we're going to have Gary Gensler for another 4 years. Anyway, we'll dig into it. But before we do, Minus Wells putting the following post responding to someone that said, you know what, Tron, its value's holding up pretty well. Why? Why would anyone want Tron? And he says the following: it's because Tron has some of the best utility, massive stablecoin usage, highest daily active users, biggest gambling ecosystem in crypto. You know, in my opinion, I don't have any investment in Tron. It's not a coin that I'm interested in holding for investment purposes. But the reality of the situation is Tron is one of the most used chains in the world for practical real-world application. Tokenized dollars you can use. Fast, cheap, efficient. And I've been saying for years the XRP ledger needs it. We need a solid stable coin for real-world adoption. And you notice the bottom ranking on this list with the least daily active users. It's XRP ledger at 21. When Ripple launches this stablecoin, and I think it's going to pull some of the other major stablecoins onto this network, you're going to see that ranking, XRP ledger, go ripping up that ranking. If I'm going to trust my value to Tron or the XRP ledger, I'm going to go the XRP ledger every single day. But you have to have the functionality to be a modern blockchain. And so I think that's going to make a world of difference. Someone followed up with a question in this thread to him. Well, what do you think about FLR? He says the following: FLR's tech is good. It should be a top contender for the foreseeable future. Its oracles are next generation. Its DeFi is more powerful than legacy chains. The power of the state connectors and layer cake will drive adoption for years. I have to agree. You have all the makings of greatness here, but they got to do it. They got to launch these things, be successful, onboard users. You can't take that stuff for granted. You could have all the potential in the world, and I think we got it with FLR, but now it's about getting it done. I'm super bullish on FLR, but again, you got to follow this thing and make sure we keep making progress to practical application. I think we'll get there. I think Minus is absolutely correct. We're positioned for greatness, but that team's got to get it done for sure. We see Winston Prescott saying the following: he thinks the damage was done for XRP, and it could go the way of beta tapes. What could have been is what we'll be asking. Ethereum and Gary have done their job. Sad, sad. This is what I'll tell you. Of course, that harmed us. That court case, we all know what it did. But with the same token here, a lot of the harm has been done by missed opportunity. The fact that there have been so many things launched on the XRP ledger that were total and epic failures, and where the rest of the crypto space went to DeFi, we went the way of the micropayment. And at the time I agreed. I said payments were where it was at. It was going to get traction first, and we were wrong. And so now we have a chain where, we're ranking last in daily active users. That's not good. And so we have to get some metrics that show adoption of this technology. The XRP ledger today, even with some of the most advanced chains, when you look at everything from speed, cost, and finality, it beats a lot of these chains. Like Solana has way faster finality than Solana. It is tuned for payment and settlement and settling transactions. And that is front and center to everything you're doing on the blockchain. We can get traction, and I think they're hitting all the right areas, saying, you know what? Micropayments, that may be the future, but the now is DeFi, and we see that capability being built out. We absolutely need a stable coin. We see that launching. I think, again, it's kind of like FLR. We're hitting all the right spots. Now it's a question of, do they get it done? Do they start onboarding users? And I think that will make up for all the damage that the SEC did. Yes, they had an effect, but that's not all of it. A lot of the failure is on our own shoulders. And when I say our own, really, the developers and the people in power. They launched stuff that people didn't want to use. No one wanted coil blogs. No one wanted all this other stuff. We got to get going. I think we're gonna, but you got to show me. That's my point. Now, beyond that, is it really going to matter for this upcoming bull run? Heck no. XRP is going to rip and roar. The first bull run in history where you can buy directly on an exchange. I think it's going to do fantastic. But when you look at it a little farther than that, you have to start delivering. Just my opinion here. Someone's saying, we talk about this upcoming election and the fact that Trump is pro-crypto. And so we have this commenter saying, do you realize Trump administration was not crypto friendly? Absolutely correct. And brought in, they didn't bring in Gensler, but they were responsible, of course, for Clayton and Hinman and all that kind of stuff that we hate. It's all about positioning yourself. The fact that Trump administration and the Biden administration need those voters. And on a foregoing basis, as we get bigger, stronger, integrated within traditional finance, they need that money. And it's not just about the Ripples and the Coinbases now and all the money they have, but now you get the BlackRocks and the Fidelities that they want this and they're going to get it. And so there's really no way, in my opinion, for either side to be anti-crypto like we have seen this last 4 years. You see the Bitcoin ETF is just the start of it. It's the most successful ETF in history. You don't think they want more of that? With Ethereum, they are estimating that it's going to do about 20% of Bitcoin. And whatever it is, it's still going to be one of the most successful. It might not be the most successful ETF launch, but it's going to be one of the top 5. Like, they want more of that. There is so much, demand for this because people are looking at stock markets, S&P at all-time high, $3 trillion, tech companies. You look at real estate all the time. We need somewhere to gain yield. We need somewhere to put our money where we can get growth. In crypto, well, that is the really emerging asset class that can help deliver this. They understand this, and it's no longer, again, about your crypto bros and your fringe. Now it's your big players, and you best believe they're going to get their way. There is nothing to your advantage as a politician to be anti-crypto any longer. Those people that really don't care about it, they don't care about it. They're not voting for you. They're not giving you donations because you are anti-crypto. But the people that do care about this space, and it's growing a mile a minute, they're voting, very strongly towards those administrations that are going to take care of this space. And again, we're not asking for a free-for-all, just, common sense regulations that allow entrepreneurs to do their job and allow this asset class to grow and really meet its potential here. A lot of these videos I've been playing for you are about either Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF, and that's just where the news and the interest is. And I'm not trying to sell you on Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other coin for that matter. But a lot of the info from that, and we see this commenter here saying not a fan of Bitcoin or an investor, but still a good video. A lot of these same themes are going to continue as we expand into your next, wave of crypto ETFs. Whether you're talking about XRP, you're talking about whatever the next one is, Solana, all your top crypto assets. They're going to be looking at the same thing. That video I played yesterday, the news host was like, Ethereum is so much more exciting. You can build all of these systems. And, that's the case with altcoins. They are exciting. You can build a lot of really cool stuff. And they're just starting to get a taste of that within traditional finance. They get Bitcoin, digital gold, makes sense. They're used to investing in gold. Now they're just starting to wrap their heads around the altcoin space and all the stuff that we go over. And it's going to continue to build momentum and to drive, investment dollars flowing into this space. So again, when I'm playing these videos, you can listen to these themes and extrapolate it over whatever crypto investment you have. It's not stopping with just these two. You best understand that. Lastly, I've made the comment that I think a lot of this slowed down. It's just part of the summer doldrums. We haven't seen it in traditional yet. I think we'll get there. I think things will slow down as they usually do. But this commenter said, dang, bro, 27% drop because of the summer. I doubt it. He goes in to talk about Mt. Gox in Germany. And look, when you have downturns, there's always, really scary things happening. Whether, Mt. Gox is going to start distributing coins or Germany's doing this or whatever it might be. But there's also always exciting things too. Like you have the Ethereum ETF that's launching, and you have, really a front and center with politics where it's all about cryptocurrencies. You can always latch on to either the good stuff or the bad stuff. Markets just kind of do this. And while 27% is a big sell-off, of course, within crypto, not a big deal. This is kind of commonplace. This happens. We hit these doldrums where we trade sideways and prices go down significantly. We like this volatility within crypto. That's what excites us because we have the upside as well. So I don't think it's anything major. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it could get worse. And if it does, I'm going to continue to take advantage of that, finding value, knowing that, at some point this space is going to absolutely rip people's faces off, making sure I'm getting those assets that will perform well. Ripple announcing Swell, going to be October 15th and 16th. It's going to be in Miami, Florida. Are you excited about this? Do you think there's going to be some big announcements? Swell used to be the center of the XRP universe. I don't know if it is any longer. Tech Coalition is urging Biden to back crypto regulations ahead of the U.S. presidential election. This is big because we don't just want to go after promises. Like, get me elected and I will do all these things for you. You want both sides vying for your dollars, for your votes. And so if we can get them to start acting now and get some of this legislation through, whether it's stable coins or whether it's, general crypto regs, great. Like, keep pushing. Get everything you can now. Don't just wait for promises of tomorrow. And again, both sides are going to have to cater to this space because there's so much money and, a lot of voters on the line that vote, specifically over this issue. Trump officials promised that they're going to halt the crypto crackdown. And I could see if President Trump was reelected, you may get like Hester Peirce, who's not perfect, who I go after a lot on this channel. But at the same time, I really think she'd be much better than Gary Gensler. And I think she would be better than Clayton or some of these other people. So just my opinion. I think, if we see Trump and we see someone like Hester Peirce, that I think would be fantastic for cryptocurrencies. But no matter who wins the election, I don't think you're going to be able to continue to go war for crypto. For one thing, we keep winning in court, which is going to stop people. House crypto bill could be the answer to America's regulatory soul searching. Now the ball's in the Senate's court. I don't know if anything gets done before the election, but we need this. And to me, this is more important than crypto ETFs that allow big money to invest in this space. To me, this is really the big deal because this allows entrepreneurs to come in here and safely build businesses and payment systems and RWA systems and stock exchanges. Like, you need to know what's legal and what's not. And once you do, that's going to unleash the flurry of building. You'll even have your Amazons and your Googles and your Apples, building blockchain solutions as well. That's the big one. Yeah, we want to see that investment money coming in from ETFs, but I think this changes the world overnight when you have clear regulations and now you know what you can do. You can go put $1 billion into building out a new service that's based on blockchain because the SEC is not going to kick in your door. Lastly, before we get into the video, John Deaton, he has this plan for U.S. regulators, and he wants to put up a bill that would impose a 3 to 5 year statutory bar preventing regulators from working in the industry they were just in charge of at the SEC. So essentially, like, Hinman couldn't jump over to a hedge fund or the attorneys, it says including them. You couldn't be the lead litigator on the Ripple case and then jump over to some crypto company. And I understand the spirit of that, but I don't think this is workable, and I'll tell you why. You want to get top attorneys to work at the SEC. As much as they are confrontational with the crypto space, makes sense. You want the SEC to be stocked with talented people. And if I'm a top attorney, I may do 4 years at the SEC to pad my resume and for that experience. But if you're going to tell me I'm going to, get on the lower end of the pay scale that I could get, working at the SEC for 4 years, and then I got another 5 years after that before I could really go to work for some of these hedge funds and stuff like that and make the big money, that's a decade lost. That's a big commitment. Someone's going to have to love being a regulator to do this. I don't think it's workable. Just my opinion. Let me know down below what you think, though. Is this something that would just be a talent drain on the SEC? Could they get anyone to even come in and work there that had any talent? Or, is John onto something, or is this a little bit too extreme? I think a 1 year cool-off period would be fine, and we should have something like that. Like, you shouldn't be able to be suing Ripple and then being able to jump over and help some other crypto company. Like, it's too close together. I think some sort of cool-off period is warranted, but I think 3 to 5 years is far too much. All right, let's get this interview up here. And again, this is from today from Bloomberg. and it's focused, Ethereum's the top story, but it implicates all of cryptocurrencies. Let's go ahead and play it.
If you ballpark estimate it, I would say next Thursday is probably a reasonable estimate for when they'll launch. How much money will they take in? Look, I look at silver and gold. I look at Ether and Bitcoin in other parts of the world. I estimate 20% of the assets. So, a little bit of a sidekick, to be honest. I don't think Ether is going to really grow much bigger. I think Bitcoin is the stud crypto asset. It's easy to explain to, any investor. It's digital gold. Ether's a little trickier. It's harder to explain what it is, what the value is. Maybe I'll be wrong. Some of the Ether people think I'm underestimating it. They tell me all the time. But based on those other paradigms, I would say Ether would be lucky to get 20% of the 60 billion that the Bitcoin ETFs have gotten.
It's fascinating because you're seeing this at the same time that people are starting to talk about the next ETF for crypto, Solana being among the top of that list. And if you think ETFs for Ethereum would be a sidekick, why even look to the Solana ETF right now?
Yeah, because if you are first, you're probably going to get a nice payday. So right now, these Solana applications, in my opinion, are basically call options on a Trump victory. Because if Biden wins and we get like Gensler Part 2 or somebody like Gensler, they're not going to approve these. It's a long story why, but they're just probably not going to. Trump wins, let's say he appoints someone like Hester Peirce or a more libertarian chair, well, anything's possible. So there's 240-day clock that just started that will be March 2025. So the election is between now and then. So this is a little bit like just a flyer, a call option on what if there's a change at the White House, and we'll see what happens. If there is, then we're looking at maybe more coins even beyond that. If there isn't, I think we're kind of locked into these two coins for a long time.
Something to circle.
I'll tell you this couple things here. First of all, I don't think there's enough demand right now to warrant anything past Ethereum. But 2025, I believe, will be vastly different, and there'll be a huge appetite as we have, more of this under our belt. The Ethereum and the Bitcoin ETFs will be trading for quite a while. You'll get to see if that demand stays strong. I think it will. We're seeing right now as the prices dip down, you're still seeing a lot of inflows as people build out their Bitcoin position. Ethereum might be a little light at first, but I think it'll pick up the pace as we go through this year and set the stage nicely for an expansion through the broader market. And again, I think Ethereum will be more successful than most ETFs out there. I don't think it's going to match Bitcoin at this point in time. The other drivers, once we get crypto regulations, and you see big companies building on Ethereum, building on the XRP ledger, building on Solana, whatever, the blockchain they choose, I think people are going to start to get it. The potential of altcoins. And I don't want to downplay, Bitcoin's value proposition. It's the only kind of crypto like that in the world. But, there's so many things you can do with altcoins. It's exciting, and I think it's going to drive a lot of investment, and it's going to continue to grow year after year. I have no doubt, again, it's not going to stop with just Ethereum. We're going to roll off, to the rest of the market. But it is kind of up in the air right now. As he said, there's a lot of risk there. If we're having to deal with Gary Gensler or some Gary Gensler clone for the next 4 years, it could be problematic. At the same time, though, we keep whipping him in court. I just don't see this continue to be a problem. I think this era we just went through is coming to a close in a hurry. And we're just going to see expansion and growth of crypto in a significant manner. And your major altcoins are going to get across that finish line.
Your calendars for March of 2025. Eric will be sticking with us, but for more, we're also joined by Bitwise Chief Compliance Officer Catherine Dowling. And if you think about what we're seeing in the market right now, it's such an interesting time to think about all of these new products that are coming to the surface around the crypto community because of the weakness you're seeing in Bitcoin. Catherine, how do you think about this as an issuer? You're on one hand seeing a lot of interest in the cryptocurrency really waning, but new products coming to launch. What's the dynamic?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And we've actually dialogued with the SEC about the possibility of what's coming down the pike with new products. And it is interesting, as Eric pointed out, some of those new products may have to wait on a new SEC chair if that comes to turn in January, because otherwise I think it's going to be a really long haul to get some of these products out in the market, given the history we've had with getting these products to market and the fact of not having futures trading in some of these potential products. But it's an active dialogue, and I think our communication with the SEC about the prospects for these products has actually been quite welcoming.
That's fascinating. And if you think about...
And I like the theme you're hearing here. Like, the Biden administration can say, oh, we're going to be more friendly to the crypto, and they've approved Ethereum, or maybe they didn't have to. So maybe that's a little bit, but keep pushing them, saying, hey, we're not going to buy this stuff of just talk because we think you're going to circle back and go to your regular ways, your Elizabeth Warren outlook, just your war on crypto. We can't trust you. And if you can leverage that right now and push more and more stuff through the door here, I think it's all the better. And they're going to be desperate, just trying to get some sort of votes, getting money. They're so low on money. You could say, hey, we'll fund you some money in your campaign, but you better push some bills through. Things of that nature. Hold them hostage. Don't put all your eggs in either one of these baskets. Because as the other commenter had said, it's not like the past administration was super bullish on crypto. Like, make them put up or shut up. And absolutely, they should be leveraging, saying, you know what, we got to get some stuff done now if you want any more money from us, things of this nature.
The other thing Eric was pointing out was there's the SEC as one part of things, but then there's the retail investor interest or even institutional investor interest. How do you see investors really rallying around the idea of Ethereum? Do you find it a harder sell than Bitcoin?
It's definitely a more nuanced sell, but I don't think it's a harder sell. I think it's got its own market structure that is explainable, not as easily explainable as the digital gold qualities of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the big leader, right? But we're 6 months behind here, and we're close to a launch of the spot ETH ETFs. Chair Gensler said it's going to be sometime over the summer. Everyone has a different definition of summer. It's been a little bit of a long, hot summer for the issuers waiting for that. But we're seeing in the S1 amendments that are filed that there are fewer and fewer issues that are being vetted back and forth between issuers and the SEC. So that points all signs in the direction that we are close to the finish line on the launch.
And let's talk about the marketing of Ether, right? So let's say you're talking to a cousin or your uncle or aunt, and you're trying to explain Ether ETF. You just told them Bitcoin is digital gold. What's the buzzword or the sort of four-word marketing sort of slogan that you can give Ether where someone will be interested in it?
We try to explain Ether, and we have at heart Bitwise as a research institution. And what our research team does day in and day out is they create kind of easy to digest explanations of Ether, of these products, and what impact they're having on the technological furtherance of moving money over the internet. And I think once you break it down and explain that it's not just a currency, you're not issuing another currency so that you can just go buy coffee at Starbucks. These are technological innovations, and these are businesses that are being run on the blockchain. So once you get into the explanation of that these are businesses and liken them to the evolution of the internet, I think it's more easily explainable and something that folks can grasp that maybe have no background, or even folks that do have background or have been investors in Bitcoin and are looking to see, okay, what's the next diversification move we can make? So those are conversations that you can step function and explain. And we have a lot of research and kind of easily digestible items on our website that I think help investors every day.
This is going to be such a different world. In the future, we're going to have quarterly reports where we're going to get, from the actual projects themselves, full financials that are talking about, active daily users and, how much money is flowing cross-chain and transaction value locked and all sorts of stats that are certified. Someone's going to sign those reports saying, hey, if there's anything funny business here, I'm going to go to jail. We're going to get all sorts of reports from people like Bitwise and BlackRock, and just the level of detail that you're going to get as we go forward is going to be mind-boggling. And it's going to be, again, that much more interesting for the altcoin space where you do have all these businesses launched on top, whether it's Ripple sending payments or, Base, building, a whole layer 2 on top of Ethereum and everything Coinbase is doing, and just all sorts of really exciting things coming on the horizon with a lot of investor detail that we can rely on, and it's going to take this asset class to a different level. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.